Hello, FlimsyLunchTray here with a interesting titled video for you today, and that is how to lose in ranked. Now, I have already done a video on how to win in ranked, or the key to winning ranked battles, and I'll put that in the description below if I remember to do that, and that is patience. If you want to win in ranked, you have to have patience, right? Players who don't have patience and just YOLO and rush forward tend to lose the battles. So, in this battle, I guess there's going to be two things that I'm going to highlight. One is the Cossack. I have more Cossack videos coming. I was on vacation and haven't got around to publicizing these videos yet on the channel. But Cossack is just, to me, is a beast in ranked, and I'll talk more about why that is in the future videos that I have more specifically on Cossack. But in this battle, I want to highlight what is it that the enemy team does that they lose this match. So, in starting off here, when I looked at the other few destroyers, I think there's a Kagero, and then was the other one a Fletcher. With me having the Hydro, I immediately decided when starting off in this flank, I'm going to go contest this cap. You can already see that it's almost already half flipped, so I'm thinking that there's probably two destroyers here. And because of that, we're going to get the Hydra going, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to move up here, and then I'm going to back up and position myself where if I need to exit the cap quickly, I can. Because if a destroyer decides to YOLO rush around this corner, or around the island, one of the corners, if I'm just reversing or I'm just sitting still, I'm sitting duck, right? It's really easy for him to torpedo me. So it's much harder to torpedo a moving target. Now, this Ognivoy is moving up on that outer edge, and he goes outside the cap, and then we see that the cap is still being taken, which is still contested. So that tells me that there's another destroyer, so I look behind me. Maybe he's coming out from behind me. But it's the Palio Emilio. So immediately we smack the engine boost. We get our torpedoes going with that. And because this is what he's done, we have denied him his pizza time. Right? He just rushed. There was no need for him to just rush forward like that. He was probably excited. He sees what all the other players do in the Palio Emilio that's publicized on YouTube of just rushing through, torpedoing two battleships, and then you'd basically die, but you take two battleships with you, right? He played that way too early. As you can see, there's only the Alabama back behind me, and then the other battleships are further away. So I don't really know what his plan was, but if he had been a bit more patient to see where our team was moving, that would have helped. Now, I moved up for two reasons out of the smoke screen. One was I didn't know if the Pomeranian was pushing, since he has a 6-kilometer hydro, and I also expected the Ognivoy to dump torpedoes. Now, you saw me ask in the chat earlier, does the Ognivoy have torpedoes or radar? I was thinking the Orkan. I get those two mixed up sometimes. So I'm going to back up, quick cooldown on the torpedoes, and I'm expecting the Pomeranian to push back in again, but we'll have to see. Okay, so you've had the Palio Emilio, he's rushed forward. And now we have the Richelieu who's going to push forward. And you can see the Ognivoy here in a minute, he's actually backed off from his position. But the biggest problem that I see in ranked is this two-cap dilemma. When your team holds two caps, you do not need to push. All you need to do is defend those two caps. That's it. That's all you have to do. Because even though we've destroyed one of their ships, they have two caps ticking in the points, and they're going to continue to stay relatively close with us for the time being. But when you hold two caps, all you need to do is just hold and defend them. Right now we're seeing the players one by one. They're coming forward. It's not good enough that they have two caps that they could win on points. The Richelieu has pushed forward now, and we're gonna proximity detect him, and then our spotting damage is going to go up. But now the Richelieu, he's screwed, right? He's sitting there. Even if he backs up, we have the Fletcher to my starboard side shooting at him. We got the Alabama in the position. We've got the Kagero, we've got the FDG off to the left, port, if I get that right. And they're just chewing him up. And there's nothing he can do. And he's dead. And you can see that they almost caught back up to us in points there, just from having those 2 caps. And so we've done well. And I was waiting to go around this corner for a minute, but then now we see the Ognivoy. Now he's rushed back up again. If he had actually been closer with the Richelieu, he could have actually punished me for sitting there proximity detect him, which I think is what he wanted to do, but it was way too late for him to do that. And now I'm expecting torpedoes, and I'm going to back away. All we have to do is just, our team just needs to continue to play somewhat patiently for the time being. Because of how the enemy team just keeps throwing themselves at us, right? So you can see that, you know, earlier the FDG and the Cowgirl, they were kind of going more towards the center of the map. But because the enemy team keeps throwing themselves at us through this cap, it's drawn them back, right? So now that we're kind of clustered here, there's 5 of us sitting here, while our other 2 teammates push up towards, what is that, C? No, B, I think that is. And now our FDG has gone down. And now they're ahead on points again. Even though they're down 2 ships, we're down 1 ship. It's because they're continuing to hold this 2 cap advantage. Now our Cagro has pushed in and he's contested the cap now, which is great. Letting my team know that I'm going to have the Hydra up in a minute. And you can see on the mini-map that the Pomeran has pushed forward, right? If he's got a hydroacoustic search up, I can't push in. So I need to just kind of wait and see what's going on here. And I should have been in a more kiting away position, but I just saw those torpedoes hit Pomeran. Okay, now the Ognivoy, he's backed off again, right? And now he's gonna, his smoke screen is dissipating, and so that gets me detected here. And so I'm just going to smoke up. And I was thinking I could back up into small crook of this island to my right. But it's not as deep as I thought it was because I just glanced at it, right? Now he's got his hydroacoustic search up. I'm spotted. And basically, I'm just going to have to get out of here now. And the Ognivoy player, he just, like 10 seconds ago, he had 9,500 health, or 15 seconds ago. And bam, he's gone, right? So the Pomeran and the Ognivoy, they don't need to push up. Our team, the farthest we've gotten at this cap is right where the Cagro is at. That's the farthest our team's pushed forward, besides the Fletcher being off to the side there. But because they just keep throwing themselves one by one, and at us, we're just able to sit in this defensive position and hold them off. If you have to push forward offensively into a defensive position, you're already at a disadvantage, right? And so that is why having patience is the key to winning ranked battles. And we've just been patient this whole time sitting back here. Now, even though this is happening, it means that we also need to be aware of what else is happening on the map. So we can see we have our Alaska. He's kind of dealing with the Minnesota right now. We haven't seen the Sastrio for a while. So I'm thinking he's somewhere out there in the center. And he's probably going for the Alabama. So my goal is I'm going to just loop around and see if he's down there. Maybe he's going to go for our cap. Or maybe he's fallen back with the rest of his team. But then we get to see that, you know, the enemy is starting to capture B. So that means I need to get down over there quickly and help out. Now, a Sastrio player, he could have capped, or he could have gone for that, I think maybe a little earlier. Because even though the enemy's down 4 ships, we're down 1, they're not that drastically far behind us in points, right? So as soon as they flip this other cap, they've got it. They'll be able to, if they can hold them and not die, because they need to live, then they've got a chance, because our Alabama's about to go down, and he's kind of helping our Alaska player out with the Minnesota. I was wondering, hopefully I could smoke up the Alabama here, but the Rune, I think, has some shots coming in that's going to set him on fire, and he was flooding, and I think the Alabama was used damage con, so he's going to die, so we're not going to look. I felt bad, but there's nothing I could have really done for him. So, now I'm RPF'd, as I was in the beginning of the match, and what I'm expecting the Sastrio player to do is to just swing around to the south of C cap. He could be going back through the middle, but I don't see him doing that because the Minnesota player just died, and Alaska is now heading towards their cap, the B cap, or the other cap. I can't tell on the map. But no, he's what this Astro player is doing now, as I was trying to get him to shoot before I smoke up here, is that he's pushing into a hornet's nest, right? We got the FDG to my right, we've got the Cowgirl and the Fletcher to the north, and we got the Alaska. So he's just pushing into the center of a crossfire. So that was a misplay by him, because now he's got a crossfire from both sides, and he's got 2 destroyers coming right at him. So the big thing that I see my team do, the enemy team do a lot in ranked, is when the team has 2 caps and they keep pushing and throwing themselves one by one, they lose the match every time. When you hold 2 caps, all you need to do is defend the 2 caps. Even if it's being contested, if you're contesting it, enemy team is contesting it, all you need to do is just hold the caps and defend them, and then just win on points. That's all you really got to do, because then you're going to force the enemy team to have to push in if you're the one who holds those 2 caps. And then you get to take advantage of being in that defensive position to take out them as they push in towards you. So you're going to see we did just over 56,000 damage, 2 destroyed, got the first blood and devastating strike on that Palio Emilio. And that pretty good with the XP and credits. So I've really loved playing Cossack in ranked. I've just had so much fun playing this ship. Our Kagro player did really well, and then I got 1,841 base experience. So all of us get a star and moving on. And this Astro player on their team, he did good. He just misplayed there at the end. It was right for him to go for our cap there at the end, but he just pushed into a crossfire, which was poor on his part per se. And you can kind of see the damage spread out here among all 3 destroyers of the enemy team, but also on the Palmerin and a tiny bit on the Richelieu. And then looking at the credits with premium account, we ended with just over 600,000 credits. A note on the Cossack is the Cossack is a great destroyer for ranked, in the sense that she's built to knife fight with other destroyers. So when I play Cossack, I'll just go ahead and say this real quick. When I play Cossack in ranked, my goal is to take out the other destroyers. And you're going to see that in, I'm going to kind of share some highlights on Cossack, where there's 2 other battles. I think there's 4 destroyers on the enemy team both times. And in both of those instances, I killed 3 of their 4 destroyers. It was wonderful. I loved it. Because if you are able to take away the destroyers on the enemy team in a ranked match, you've immediately put them at a disadvantage, and pretty much most times you've already guaranteed the victory when you're able to take out the destroyers on the enemy team. So that aside, I really hope you take to mind of how to lose ranked battles, right? If you hold 2 caps, just hold and defend them. You don't need to push in. And that's what you saw the enemy team do. They had 2 caps, and they started like, well, that's not enough. It's not enough for us to win on points. We have to keep pushing, and we'll do it one by one, which you can see that there was no communication among them. And that, the Palio Emilio just yellows, dies. The Richelieu moves up with no support, dies. The Ognavoid tries to push up on my side. He's too late to do it. Then the Palmer decides to push up, right? So it was just really a misplayed opportunity by the enemy team here. So if you find yourself in a ranked match and you hold 2 caps, just hold and defend them. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And I see it happen so many times, which is why I'm going on and on and on and on about it. So on that note, I did announce the launch of a new series yesterday, How to Map, and we're going to be looking at maps in World of Warships. There's, according to Training Room, there's 35 maps, and I'm going to be going a series on that with you. And so I wanted to share that again here with you today. And our first How to Map series video is going to be on Greece, and that's going to start this coming Monday. So I'm trying to let the other video have some time before I immediately jump into that series. So stay tuned if you want to see that. It's going to be really great, and you can check out that video as it'll have more details on it. But that aside, if you liked today's battle, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more. And if you have already subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. So until next time, take care.